Hi, I'm Anita, and today I want to talk to you about the LookLab Workbook, which is a great resource to be used alongside the LookLab software from Smartbox. We do have a getting started guide or a manual, which will help you get set up and going with the software, but the workbook is a little bit different as it's designed to be used long term alongside the software to help support the development of eye gaze skills and record progress along that journey. So we're going to have a little look in the workbook today. We'll have a think about where you can get it from, and then we'll go through an example of how you might use it. As you can see, the workbook starts with some general information about LookLab, about the software itself and the worksheets in the workbook. It also talks about the different modes that you can access within the software, easy and standard modes, which can be accessed from most games and activities, and minimal and detailed visual modes, which can be accessed via the options section of the software. In the bottom corner, there's some information about the analysis tool in the software, which can provide heat maps, which show you where someone has looked when they are out playing a game or doing an activity. And that can be really useful alongside the sort of information which can be captured by the rest of this workbook. If I scroll down, you'll see there's a skills list, which gives you an overview of the different skills which can be targeted by LookLab activities and games. There's more information about these skills in a separate video in the playlist, so don't forget to check that out later. If I scroll down further, there's a really handy checklist which gives information on which skills are targeted by which games and activities. So you can see it's broken out into the different activity areas within LookLab. We've got fun, challenge, puzzle, mindfulness, and creative, and each one lists the individual activities and the skills that are worked on by those activities. Then the bulk of the workbook is made up by these individual worksheets. There's one for each activity, and you can see they all look the same. So we've got a description of the activity in the top left corner, the skills it works on in this box, and then if relevant, there's information about what that activity looks like in easy mode. For each skill, we've written an activity-specific objective to help you understand what that skill might look like in that activity. And then every sheet also has 3 general objectives, which are engagement, so how interested someone was in the game or activity; independence, how did they get on with activating it and playing the game themselves; and success, generally how well they did with that game or activity. There's space to tick your observations and to type comments in the boxes. And then there's space to write down who it was who was completing the activity, who was supporting them, the date, the time, and any general comments in this box at the bottom. What's really nice about the workbook is that it's all electronically editable. So you can go through and pop ticks in the boxes and comments in the spaces on your laptop or your device, and then you can save or print that worksheet as needed. If I scroll right down to the bottom of the workbook, there is also a general worksheet, the quick record sheet, which can help you record if someone has engaged with a number of games or activities. So you can list which activities they played, you can write some general observations about the activities and any skills that were particularly focused on in that session. And then there's the information down at the bottom, just like we saw in the other worksheets. So the workbook can be accessed via our Smartbox hub. And the link for this is down below in the video description. And you'll see that LookLab has its own page, and if we scroll down, there's a tab for resources. So if I select that, you can see this is the manual or the getting started guide that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And then here is the workbook in its entirety. So you can download the whole thing if you want access to all of the different worksheets, or if you know that someone really likes a particular game or activity, you can download that individual worksheet from the sections below. So all of the activity worksheets are listed here individually for you to download or save as needed. If we jump back to the workbook, we're going to have a quick go at an example. So I'm going to think about an individual who is working on a particular skill. So in this case, we're going to think about tracking. I'm going to start in the fun section, thinking about these games that are really great to get going with because they're really fun and engaging. And you can see lots of them target tracking. So I'm going to select the one at the top here. We're going to go for breakthrough. So I'm going to scroll down to find the breakthrough worksheet. Here it is. And you can see that for the tracking skill, we've got an activity-specific objective, which is follows the ball as it moves around the screen. So as the individual is playing that activity, I'm going to be observing what they're doing, seeing what they can manage, and looking to see whether they're following that ball as it moves. And it might be that in this case, they are developing that skill, but they're not quite there. Maybe they're looking at it some of the time and then they're getting distracted by other things. So in that case, I could pop a tick in the developing box. But I might also notice at the same time that their vertical control, their ability to move the bat up and down the screen is really good. And in that case, I could say they've achieved that skill, and I might pop a little comment in the box along those lines. And then I might look to see what their reactions are like. How often are they getting the bat in time to receive the ball? And again, that might be a developing skill, something that they're working towards. Then I might want to record how they got on against the 3 general objectives. So their engagement was really high in this case. They loved the game. They really wanted to keep going. So we can say high engagement. Their independence, maybe they needed a little bit of help to keep that ball moving around the screen. So we can say their independence was medium. And because they were their tracking skills are developing, maybe we say their success with the game was medium high. And I could pop in any relevant comments into those boxes as well, complete the information down at the bottom, and write anything about perhaps their positioning or how their general mood was that day, or any other information which might be relevant to remember how they got on and why that might be. And then I can save or print that worksheet as needed, and that's a really great record of how someone is getting on over time with the Look Lab activities. So I hope that's been a helpful overview of the Look Lab workbook. You can access it via the link below, and if you have any other questions, please get in touch via our general support routes, and in the meantime check out all the other videos in this playlist. Thanks for watching.